Generally speaking, no judgment from me, but Hugh Jackman has been plagued with rumors of sexuality throughout his entire career. It has been speculated for a host of reasons, some fair, some not. We are learning that Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, will be deposed, and I suspect that that might be making Ryan Reynolds extremely nervous.
This level of criminal sexual predation is not something that I ever thought was going on. If there was ever an event or something that I was at and he was doing this kind of thing, and there's some woman who was somehow assaulted, and I somehow missed it, then I'm sorry.
Hollywood just can't keep its scandals hidden anymore. The Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit has erupted into something far more sinister, revealing backstabbing deals, shattered friendships, and a swirl of secrets that even the most jaded insiders never saw coming. No one is walking away unscathed, and if you're hoping for a polite, civilized showdown,
you did not know both of their lawsuits had been consolidated into one legal showdown instead of these two separate lawsuits.
I know for a fact that the mainstream media will lie and they will smear on behalf of their powerful friends. I believe in due process, which is why I always read the facts of the case before accepting the media narrative.
And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere. And that what in fact happened was you guys were the ones out there generating negative press against Justin. You guys were the ones who were trying to ruin Justin.
Think again. This battle has turned downright vicious, dragging in every A-lister from Matt Damon to Hugh Jackman to Ryan Reynolds. Their once glamorous alliances have become tangled webs of whispered betrayals and silent threats, and the entire industry is holding its breath to see who emerges victorious. If you thought Tinseltown was just red carpets and smiles, prepare for a bombshell that blows that illusion to bits.
They worked with the New York Times, or publicists worked directly with the New York Times. They shared illegally obtained text messages. They shared those together. They concocted a complaint that they filed with the Civil Rights Division. They omitted texts that would have provided context.
Not seen a case so open and shut in my life, and the more that I read and the more details that I get into, I'm just shocked at how many lies were told, okay? But they believed her narrative instantly because the allegations were so strong. And I just kind of held fire because I don't trust the New York Times to save my life.
Because in this raging war, nobody is playing nice. And one thing's clear. The deeper we dig, the darker the truth becomes. Strap in, because the revelations are about to come fast, furious, and relentlessly shocking. It all started with a single slip-up. Behind the glitz and sparkle of Hollywood parties, Matt Damon stumbled upon a piece of information that changed everything. A private exchange hinting that Hugh Jackman was acting against Justin Baldoni's interests. At first, it made no sense. Frustrated customers are not only offloading these subpar products, but are also flooding social media with viral outcries demanding accountability.
All right, you guys, it is Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni Day. Finally, to all of the women out there that are watching, no matter what you do in life, you never, ever, ever go full Amber Heard.
A shitty product with atrocious marketing. You have yourself a disastrous brand that will go out of business.
There are text messages that refute every single thing in that complaint.
There's just so much more to this story, and the media's already like self-flagellating. Oh, we were too mean to Blake. And now you see text messages from Blake Lively comparing herself. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
Hugh and Justin were known to respect each other. They weren't best friends, but they played the Hollywood game of cordial appearances. Then rumors surfaced. Specific calls, text messages, and hush-hush visits to Blake Lively's set. Suddenly, dots began to connect. Damon, typically the laid-back observer, couldn't overlook what he saw. People close to him claim he went pale as he realized the magnitude. Blake's beauty brand is so bad they are donating her products to Goodwill.
And that really they're bored and rich. Another circumstance that made me see right through Ryan Reynolds and the kind of person that he is when, despite being friends with Joe Alwyn, who dated Taylor Swift for 5 years. She's best friends with Blake Lively.
On Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie, It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. And was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it.
Okay, and that's largely due to the fact that she is a modern feminist, and so she has to create struggle where there just isn't any. Okay, if you look at that URL, look at the date on that, 12/16/2000.
Hugh wasn't just hedging his bets, evidence. He was allegedly trading intel straight to Blake Lively's legal team. Justin Baldoni was in the crosshairs, his reputation at risk. Blake, for her part, was rumored to be relentless behind the scenes, pushing any advantage she could find. The question was,
and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin. And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also.
At the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative, and her biggest takeaway was, it was so nasty.
From Armie Hammer, who got fired from Gossip Girl because he said during a dinner that she was a bitch, regarding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, when I just recognized that they are up on their high horses and that they potentially treat people very bad.
why would Hugh do it? Were he and Blake old friends, or was there some unknown debt or vendetta? What Damon discovered was enough to keep him awake at night, and as more pieces surfaced, he knew staying silent wasn't an option. An act of betrayal was unfolding right under everyone's nose, and it was about to come crashing into the public. In the most spectacularly destructive way. But the real shock? This was only the tip of an iceberg that would crush careers and friendships alike. Long before paparazzi started swarming, Justin Baldoni and Hugh Jackman shared an unspoken mutual respect. They attended the same charity functions, exchanged compliments at events, and even talked about potential collaborations. That's what makes this entire fiasco so gut-wrenching. When word got out that Hugh had allegedly fed Blake Lively's memo, team classified info, strategic updates that Justin desperately wanted sealed, people didn't believe it. The betrayal sounded too outrageous, but insiders say the evidence was undeniable. Phone logs, text transcripts, perhaps even brief audio recordings. In these so-called receipts, Hugh seemed to offer more than just trivial tidbits. He gave pointers, direct quotes from Justin's meetings, and suggestions on how to corner him legally. Was Hugh simply playing both sides to keep his own name out of the line of fire? Or was he actively setting up Justin for a colossal fall? The unraveling of trust wasn't just between Hugh and Justin. Matt Damon, once a quiet confidant, found himself caught in a moral dilemma. He had to choose between loyalty and exposing the truth. And from what surfaced, Damon chose to stand by Baldoni. Whatever cordial acquaintanceship Damon shared with Hugh, it seemed to vanish in the blink of an eye. Suddenly, the entire circle realized that this lawsuit wasn't just about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, it was a battle that threatened to shatter personal bonds across Hollywood. And as the tension mounted, everyone braced for what would come next. The rumor mill turned into a full-blown hurricane when Matt Damon finally went public, or at least industry public. He didn't call a press conference. He didn't tweet a cryptic message. No, sources say he walked straight into a private, high-profile gathering of entertainment executives, producers, and a few well-known actors. Then he dropped what insiders are calling the mother lode of receipts. There's talk of Damon calmly pulling out a folder and flipping through documents, reading off timestamps and phone logs, painting a meticulous picture of how Hugh Jackman allegedly sold out Justin Baldoni. The room was silent. People exchanged looks of disbelief. Some were outraged, others tried to feign ignorance. But no one left that gathering without a new perspective on Hugh Jackman's polished public persona. When Damon was finished, he supposedly shot a final glare across the table and said something like, "We all know what's at stake. Don't expect me to stay quiet." If you ask anyone who was there, they'll tell you it felt like a cinematic moment. But this is no script. This was real. With careers, reputations, and personal lives on the line, Damon's revelations rippled outward with alarming speed. News travels fast in Hollywood, especially when it involves high-caliber stars, potential sabotage, and a lawsuit swirling with drama. By the next morning, the entire industry was buzzing with one question. Would Hugh Jackman dare to respond, or would he hide behind silence? Either way, the damage was done. And if that gathering was any indication, Damon was only getting started. Because what came next forced even Ryan Reynolds to squirm under the spotlight. Ryan Reynolds has always been a fan favorite, charismatic, witty, and known for bantering with Hugh Jackman in a playful frenemy routine. But behind closed doors, something shifted the second Damon's accusations against Hugh reached Ryan's ears. People at that private event recall how Ryan's friendly grin disappeared the moment Matt Damon presented the evidence. Word is, Ryan sat there with a stoic expression and didn't utter a single word in defense of Hugh. Why the sudden chill? Some speculate that Ryan may have had an inkling all along. Others whisper that he was blindsided like everyone else, stunned that one of his closest pals could do something so underhanded. Yet, when Damon leaned in and posed a direct question, "Did you know what Hugh was up to?" Ryan allegedly froze. He offered no denial, no pushback, just a pointed stare that gave nothing away. Minutes later, Reynolds excused himself and left. He didn't talk to reporters. He didn't pull Damon aside. He vanished. The next day, fans noticed Ryan, scrubbing or ignoring references to his playful feud with Hugh online. No more comedic jabs, no more buddy-buddy Instagram posts, and just like that, the bromance turned ice cold. Some observers believe Ryan feared being implicated. After all, he's connected to Blake Lively. Did that link him to her legal maneuvers too? Did he stand to gain if Justin Baldoni lost big? The silence, ironically, raises more questions than any dramatic outburst ever could. And that silence drew attention to someone else, someone who was quietly basking in the storm, Blake Lively herself. While Hollywood trembled, Blake Lively seemed almost pleased. Photographers captured her stepping out on various red carpets, not a hint of stress on her face. Instead, she looked triumphant, occasionally flashing a sly grin that drove the rumor mill into overdrive. People labeled it her smug face, as if she were savoring a victory that no one else fully understood. Whispers claim she was privately telling close friends, "Everything's going according to plan." If that's true, it's a bold statement, one that suggests Blake might have orchestrated or at least welcomed Hugh Jackman's help in discrediting Justin Baldoni. Her public persona remained polished, charming smiles, glamorous outfits, the perfect Hollywood starlet. But behind the scenes, it looked more and more like she was pulling strings, planting stories, and fueling the narrative that Justin Baldoni was in the wrong. Naturally, the public began to pick sides. Hardcore Blake fans insisted she was simply defending herself against Justin's alleged wrongdoing, but a growing contingent found her demeanor unsettling. Why didn't she address the rumors directly? Why parade around events without even acknowledging the swirling scandal? Some saw it as confidence, others called it arrogance. Through it all, the tension soared. Social media erupted with hashtags demanding clarity. The press hammered Blake's representatives for statements. Every time, they were met with polite deflections. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's camp seemed cornered, struggling to keep up with the relentless spin. One question hung in the air: could Justin fight back against this duo, Blake and Hugh, seemingly conspiring to take him down? Because as the drama escalated, powerful figures in Hollywood decided they couldn't stay neutral any longer. This wasn't just random gossip or tabloid fodder. We're talking about multi-million-dollar projects hinging on the reputations of these stars. The moment Matt Damon blew the whistle, studio executives began making frantic calls. Some hammered their PR teams for solutions, others weighed the risk of keeping certain actors attached to upcoming blockbuster films. In the cutthroat business of entertainment, reputational damage can cost studios millions. Hugh Jackman, once lauded as the nicest guy in the industry, suddenly found calls going unanswered. An executive at a major streaming service who requested anonymity said they canceled a scheduled meeting with him, citing a scheduling conflict. But insiders knew better. The brand didn't want to be tainted by the rumor that Jackman orchestrated sabotage against a colleague. Meanwhile, Disney, known for its family-friendly image, allegedly started rethinking any future involvement, with Hugh on big-budget productions. The reasoning? They couldn't gamble on a massive PR mess if the sabotage allegations turned into a proven fact. Endorsement deals began quietly evaporating. Brand campaigns featuring Hugh were postponed indefinitely. Blake Lively, however, seemed unaffected. She still had powerful friends, and if anything, the studios treated her with kid gloves. Some executives believed she was purely defending herself from Baldoni's legal moves. Others suspected she had leverage. Maybe she had knowledge about other behind-the-scenes deals that no one wanted exposed. The entire entertainment landscape was morphing into a battlefield. No one wanted to stand in the crossfire. And at the center of this storm, Justin Baldoni found himself more alone than ever, until he decided to change the narrative in a very unexpected way. They say adversity reveals a person's true character. In Justin Baldoni's case, the moment he discovered the full extent of Hugh Jackman's alleged betrayal, something snapped. Gone was the polite, diplomatic man trying to handle this lawsuit with dignity. In his place, a furious, heartbroken individual ready to fight tooth and nail. Close associates described Justin locking himself in a conference room with his legal team for hours, emerging with red-rimmed eyes and a newfound resolve. It wasn't just about clearing his name anymore, it was about seeking justice for a betrayal. So raw, it felt like a personal attack. He'd looked up to Hugh, respected his career, and even shared charitable causes. Now, all that was left was bitterness and the cold reality that Hugh had aligned with Blake to bring Justin down. Baldoni's next move surprised everyone. he granted an off-the-record interview to a well-known journalist. Though the details remain hush-hush, rumors say he laid out every shred of evidence, not just about the sabotage, but about deeper manipulations Blake and Hugh had allegedly orchestrated from the start. If the journalist decides to go public, it could lead to an expose so explosive that even Hollywood's best crisis managers wouldn't know where to begin. This emotional eruption from Baldoni was a clarion call. He's done playing nice. He wants the world to see how the people he trusted the most stabbed him in the back. The question is, will the public believe him? Because in a town built on illusions, the truth can be the hardest thing for people to accept, especially when it threatens beloved personalities like Hugh Jackman and Blake Lively. Still, the dominoes were set in motion, and not even the biggest stars could stop them from toppling. High-level insiders whisper that Hugh Jackman isn't going down without a fight. Sure, his image has taken a beating, but he still has powerful connections. Execs from certain production companies quietly fear that if they turn their backs on him, they might lose access to other bankable stars or lucrative deals in Australia's booming film market, where Hugh still wields influence. At the same time, rumors abound that Blake Lively's team is looking into any dirt on Matt Damon they can find. If they can discredit him, they can cast doubt on all these damaging allegations. So far, Damon's record appears squeaky clean, but in Hollywood, skeletons often lurk just out of sight. The tension feels like a coiled spring ready to snap. Will Hugh orchestrate a massive legal countersuit? Could Blake's PR machine churn out enough spin to paint Baldoni as a cunning manipulator who's using Damon's revelations for personal gain? The stakes keep rising, and every day, someone else quietly picks a side. After all, this saga is no longer a Blake versus Justin dispute, it's a war that threatens to reshape alliances across the industry. If seeds of retaliation are planted, we're looking at a looming forest of controversy that might swallow every major player involved. And trust us, we haven't even reached the final act yet. As we stand at the precipice of this unfolding drama, one fact is undeniable. The glitz of Hollywood can't conceal the darker undercurrents of betrayal, ambition, and ruthless gamesmanship. The Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni lawsuit may have started as a simple legal spat, but it has spiraled into an all-out war involving power plays, ethical lines crossed, and hearts shattered. Matt Damon's whistleblower crusade shook the foundations of how Hollywood handles its secrets. Hugh Jackman's tarnished reputation shows how quickly a cherished public image can crack under hidden agendas. Ryan Reynolds' silence reveals the uncomfortable conflicts when personal ties and professional loyalties collide. And Blake Lively, so calm in the spotlight, stands accused of orchestrating it all, or at least benefiting from the chaos. The question that lingers, can anyone truly emerge victorious in a scandal this toxic? Or will all parties pay the price for playing with fire? The industry that thrives on storytelling now finds itself in the throes of a narrative too wild for any movie script. And you, dear viewer, are left with one lingering thought. Sometimes, reality is far more explosive than fiction. One day, the final truth may surface, every lie exposed, every betrayal laid bare. Until then, Hollywood will never be the same. And if there's one lesson to glean from this spectacle, it's that beneath every perfect red carpet photo lies the potential for an absolutely shocking revelation. Because here, in the city of dreams, nightmares unfold just as easily.